Herzlich willkommen zum
Welcome
Expertentalk
to
über
our expert
sensorbasierte Sortierung
talk on
mit der Clarity
sensor-based
Complete
sorting,
Technology
and
von
that
Binder
with
und Co.
Clarity
aus
Complete
Gleisdorf. Schön, dass Sie
technology
mit dabei
from the
sind.
company Binder+Co
Dieser
from Gleisdorf,
Expertentalk, der wird
Austria.
für Sie simultan
This expert
übersetzt
talk is
auf
going
Englisch.
to be
Also können Sie sich
interpreted
Ihre
into
Sprache
English
auswählen.
simultaneously.
This expert
So you
talk is dubbed simultaneously in English, so if you want to choose English as your preferred language, please do this now in the stream. Wir alle hier sind für
all
heute
of us
natürlich
here
Covid getestet, alle
have been
negativ und
tested
wir halten natürlich auch alle
for
Verordnungen ein
COVID-19.
für
We are all
Sie im
negative,
Stream
and still we do
zu hören.
respect all
Stellen
the
Sie sich vor,
requirements for social distancing.
eine Firma, die Ihnen
Now,
Maschinen liefert,
let's imagine
hört Ihnen
you
als
have a
Dienstleister
manufacturer
zu
of
und
machinery
entwickelt für Ihre
listening to its
Abteilung
customers
eine Maschine,
and
die Ihnen
delivering
vielleicht
to
sogar
you
eine ganze
machines that allow
Sortierstufe
you
sparen kann.
actually to
Wie das
make
gehen kann
big time
mit der
savings
Clarity
on a
Complete
full
Technology
step of sorting.
und wie
How
sie
that is
eingesetzt werden
possible
kann und
with
vor allem,
Clarity
welche
Complete
Vorteile das für
technology,
Sie bringt,
how
das
to use
diskutieren
it,
wir
where
heute und
to
das stellen
use
wir
it,
Ihnen vor.
this
In
is
dieser
what we are
Expertenrunde
going
mit
to
dabei für Sie
discuss today.
sind
Today, we have with
Frau
us in our
Thomas Meyer
expert talk
aus dem
Thomas
Vertrieb.
Meyer from
Ich begrüße
sales.
ganz herzlich Georg Weingrill.
We
Er
have
ist der
Georg
Produktmanager für
Weingrill, product manager for
sensorbasierte Sortierung und
sensor-based
Recycling,
sorting
auch
and
im Vertrieb.
recycling, also
Herzliches
working for
Willkommen an
sales.
Daniel Kreimer als
Welcome
technischen
to Daniel
Bereichsleiter
Kreimer,
für
technical
sensorbasierte
product
Sortierung.
manager for sensor-based
Willkommen auch
sorting,
an Thomas Wesian
and
als
Thomas
technischen
Wesian
Projektleiter
as
für
project leader,
sensorbasierte
technical
Sortierung.
project leader for
Wir
sensor-based
schalten
sorting.
heute auch zu aus Deutschland
We also
Oliver Wiegand.
have
Er ist
Oliver Wiegand,
Vorstandsexperte und ist
expert in the
Geschäftsführer bei
industry
Wiegand Glas in
and the
Deutschland.
CEO of Wiegand
Wir haben auch
Glass in Germany,
Alexandre Albrecht
and
mit dabei aus
Alexandre
Belgien. Er
Albrecht.
betreibt Glasrecycling
He
am Land.
is in
Falls
charge
Sie
of
Fragen haben, bitte
factories
gerne
of
nutzen Sie die
glass recycling.
Chatfunktion, schreiben Sie Ihre
If you have
Fragen
any
direkt hinein.
questions,
Im
please use the
Anschluss an den
chat.
Expertentalk
We will
beantworten wir
have a
Ihre Fragen
Q&A
persönlich.
session after our expert talks,
Meine
and
erste
we will
Frage
answer your
wendet sich
question.
an Georg
My
Weingrill.
first question
Glas.
goes
Warum
to
ist Glas
Georg
denn so
Weingrill.
ein
Glass.
wichtiger
Why
und
is
guter
glass
Werkstoff oder auch
such
Werkstoff?
a good raw material?
Well, glass is really an extraordinarily valuable material. Why? Well, it is the functionality on the one hand. Glass is super hygienic. It doesn't absorb anything. It doesn't give anything off. It is absolutely gas tight. And what makes it very special is the ecology. Glass is 100% recyclable. There are no losses. The physical properties of the newly made product are not affected.
Welche Rolle hat denn jetzt Binder und Co.
And what
in
is then the role of Binder & Co. in the glass recycling industry?
Well, since the end of the 1980s, Binder+Co. is established as a machine supplier and facility supplier for waste glass processing, and it has established itself internationally as an important player. The heart of any waste glass processing plant is our sensor-based sorting system, and it is called Clarity. Clarity is synonymous for a highly sophisticated system, and of course it is always adjusted to the changing needs of the market.
So, what is then the main task of glass recycling? Thomas Wesian?
Well, before the waste glass goes into the processing plant, it is collected by the communities, and there are different compositions of the waste glass fraction. Ultimately, it is taken to a waste glass processing plant where it is processed and sorted. At the end, you have glass that goes into the furnace. It has various colors, white, green, and brown. And also, all the contaminants are removed.
And how such a process works with Clarity and Clarity Complete technology, this is something that Georg Weingrill and Daniel Kreimer prepared for you in the video.
I would like to welcome you to the research and test laboratory at Binder+Co. Glass recycling is a complex process that involves various stages. There are impurities such as CSP, heat-resistant glass, metal, lead glass, and plastics. There are also different glass colors. These have to be sorted out so that the end product can be recycled. Well, the machine would always need adjusting to the task at hand because each unwanted material has certain selectivity that we can measure by sensor and use as a criterion for ejection. Of course, this quickly becomes very complex and time-consuming, so we've had feedback from our customers and the market whether we could simplify this. We passed this suggestion to our Binder+Co research and development department and gave them a clear target: to make our clarity system more efficient and effective. So what were the advantages of this? One very clear advantage is that we no longer need a separate machine for each impurity. We can now separate up to 4 contaminants at the same time with a single machine in a single process step. For the customer, this means that the entire process is simplified. Investment costs are reduced because fewer machines are needed. Collateral costs for steelwork and conveyors and other required auxiliary systems are also reduced, and there are even operating cost savings, for example for maintenance and wear parts. The bottom line is a win-win situation for the customer. Another good thing is that we have liaised closely with the technical department, and therefore we can offer the construction sizes and standard sizes for the new Clarity Complete technology that customers in our sector are already used to. This means that you can plan greenfield plants with this new technology, but you can also extend existing plants with this technology. Now that I have introduced the topic of Clarity Complete technology and highlighted the advantages for the customer, I will pass the floor to Daniel, who can give us better insights into the technology. Please, Daniel. What is this Clarity Complete technology? Basically, it is an extension of the sensor technology and illumination to combine various functions in a single machine. The whole Clarity Complete system is ultimately integrated into our current Clarity Next system. This means that the modular machine design now includes the complete technology. What does this mean for the customer? As you said earlier, Georg, the system can be installed easily in existing systems. Even the parts held on stock are the same for the customer, but nevertheless the customer still has the full functionalities of the Clarity, such as 2- or 3-way systems, all valve variants, the metal detection sensors, coarse and fine sorting, so everything that our standard Clarity product range can do so far, Clarity Complete can do too. The advantage of this, and you have already talked about it, are that it can be installed in greenfield plants, but the system can also be integrated into existing plants. A big advantage, which should also be mentioned here, is that you can eliminate entire sorting stages with Clarity Complete, and this, of course, is a key point for a system in terms of price. Well, perhaps we can take a look at what this means with the aid of a test. Our good friend Carl has already prepared the material for us. Would you please switch on the conveyor? We now put on the material. The material is taken to the Clarity via the feeder, which is also a Binder+Co product. It slides down a glass chute in the Clarity. It is illuminated by the light source, detected by the sensor system, and then removed by the valves. Georg, perhaps you can say a few words about the product. Well, with the setting we have made 3 main products. The first is the flint glass, the second is mixed glass, and then we also have the impurities fraction. Let us look at that in detail. We will switch off the machine now. Here you can see the first product. This is super beautiful flint glass. Our next product is mixed glass. This is also recyclable. You can see these are different colors from green to brown. That is also recyclable. And then we also have our third fraction, the impurities fraction, which cannot be recycled, but it has to be separated. If we look at it in detail, we see that it contains clear flint glass. But this conclusion is wrong, as the trained eye knows. We can use the UV lamp for confirmation. Daniel, please shine the light on this. Here you can see something shining blue. This is fluorescence that only let glass shows under the UV lamp. If I compare such a piece of glass with flint glass, you can see the blue shine straight away. It stands out from the flint glass, and therefore it can be used as an illumination criterion. To conclude, I wish to add that the first machines have been delivered, the customers have operated them and collected experiences, and the feedback simply suggests one thing: the hard work has more than paid off.
So how does it work to have a glass recycling in total?
Well, any facility for waste glass processing has several process stages. Basically, the glass that is supplied is pre-processed. It is screened, broken, crushed, dried and cleaned. And then in the heart, in the sensor-based separation level, it is sorted by color, and of course also the contaminants are removed. And this is essential in order to have a high product quality.
We now have a short discussion with Oliver Wiegand, an expert in this area. Very warm welcome, Mr. Wiegand. You are in Wiegand Gas in Germany, producing recycling glass, and it is about thresholds and contaminants. What are the most urgent problems with contaminants and why? And second question, what are the threshold values in the standards or the legal requirements that you have to obey with?
There are different contaminants, and these different contaminants also cause different problems in production. The first of them is the so-called CSP, ceramic, stone and porcelain, and sometimes CSP has a melting point that is higher than that of glass, and therefore these particles can be found in the finished bottle and they can weaken the bottle and make it break. Then there are other contaminants such as organic substances or plastics, and they have the effect of a dyestuff or pigment. In other words, if the share of these materials changes, then we cannot influence the glass color anymore. This can also lead to producing a foam in the melting vat, and we need more energy to reboil. Thirdly, also, I would like to mention heat-resistant materials. These are firstly ceramics, but also heat-resistant glass or glass ceramics that leads to glass defects. And in production, they also cause major problems also on the production machine. As far as the limit values is concerned, for processes in Germany, we have the standard sheet T120 of the Glass Association, and it describes the limit values. If you want to melt bottle glass with a very high waste glass content, then, nevertheless, you have to make sure that the limit values are much lower than the actually prescribed limit values. Two examples. First of all, CSP. It leads to bottle problems. The more waste glass I use, the more CSP is inside, and the greater the problems that I will have with the quality of my products. T120, the directive, says that the maximum CSP content is 20 grams per ton. If we today produce new glass with up to 97% of waste glass content, then the limit that we have to reach is 10 grams, rather 5 grams per ton, and not 20 grams per ton. Secondly, I also would like to mention the heavy metal limit value. There are statutory rules for the heavy metal content in the finished bottle. T120, the standard sheet, says that the maximum heavy metal content is 200 ppm.
For many countries into which we export today, however, this limit value is too high. Here, the target value in the finished bottle, and that must also be complied with in the colored in the waste glass, is less than 100 ppm.
Altglas, Behälterglas.
So, recycling glass, why actually do you use recycling glass for bottles? And second question is, what is the perspective of the market and where do the future trends go?
Okay, so the first part is this. Why do we use waste glass in the first place? Bottle glass and glass in general has the advantage that it is infinitely recyclable. This means that today you can melt a used bottle as many times as you want, and you can melt it without loss of quality. You can turn it into a new bottle, provided that the waste glass has a good quality. This is the uniqueness of this material. And then there is also an ecological aspect. The more waste glass we use, the less waste we produce. There is yet another aspect. The more waste glass you have in the melting vat, the lower the energy consumption, because the energy that is necessary to melt the glass is lower if you use a waste glass than if you use raw materials. And this is the uniqueness of this material. The climate protection plan of the European Union, and of course also of Germany, provides for the compulsory use of recyclable materials, and waste glass is one of them. The second part of the question is this. Well, the bottle glass market has been developing positively before the corona pandemic. It has done so over several years. The share of liquids filled in bottles has increased constantly. I think there are many reasons for this. Firstly, glass is a very environmentally friendly material because it can be infinitely recycled. Also, it is an inert material, and therefore it is ideal for bottling critical substances. This includes medication, for example, also the COVID vaccine. There is simply no exchange of materials between the container and the content. Also, there is a tendency towards more reusable packaging. Glass is an ideal material for multi-use and reusable containers. I'm thinking of water, bottled water, soft drinks and beer. You can wash bottles at high temperatures, making it completely hygienic, and then you can refill it any number of times. And all of these advantages of glass have led to the fact that the market has increased.
Vielen Dank, Oliver Wiegand.
Well, thank you very much, Oliver Wiegand, and best wishes to Germany. Now, how do you actually sort with clarity?
Thank you for the question. It is a very good question. It is interesting. Sensor-based sorting is different from the classical physical treatment steps. If you have magnet separation, then it's the properties of the magnet that can be used to treat the material. Where we have visual sorting, this coupling doesn't happen. Basically, we have a two-component system. The first component are the sensors, and the sensors recognize properties, be it the color or be it CSP, and light permeability. And the second thing are the effectors. These are the jet or the valves. And so the valves are actuated. The sensors basically calculate, and then the result of the algorithms is that they decide which materials are sorted out. It sounds complicated, but it is not that much complicated, because actually we can also combine the detection of various properties of grains in order to define elimination criteria. And this is sensor fusion, and this is basically the focus of our development.
So sensor fusion, that is an interesting aspect. Daniel Kreiner, what exactly is it all about and how does it work?
Well, Binder+Co is one of the pioneers in the field of sensor fusion. We have tried to combine various sensors and cameras and illumination. We married them, we made a fusion here so that we would have one single function that has and fulfills various functions. In this case, with this new technology, we have the possibility of combining color recognition, CSP recognition, metal recognition, and heat-resistant glass. And now we can add lead glass and plastics recognition to that. Or another possibility of the new system is to combine lead glass recognition and plastics recognition.
So where can this new technology be used, Thomas Wiesen?
Well, this technology can be used wherever visual sorters or optical sorters are used. So whenever you design a new glass processing plant, you can simply integrate this technology, and as we have heard before, you can eliminate several sorting stages because a single machine can eliminate various contaminants. But you can also fit it into existing facilities in order to eliminate more contaminants and in order to improve certain quality properties.
Is that all already?
Well, as Thomas has said before, you can leave out an entire sorting stage. But what does this mean? Well, first of all, the costs of acquisition are less. But not only the costs of acquisition, but also the operating costs, because you have your machines running. And another important thing is that the wear parts are the same and the stock items are the same, because the whole system is based on our last generation of Clarity. So all the wear parts remain the same.
So what do customers say? We now have one of your customers, Alexandre Albrecht. Welcome in our expert talk. You are in charge of a company for glass recycling. What are the challenges? You need to have clean cullets, and what are the biggest contaminants and how do you deal with them?
As glass recycler, we for sure we get some raw material as input. The raw material is collected as a waste. There is a lot of contamination to be sorted out. And as you may know, the glass using company, dus our customer, are asking us really a treated cullet with a very low contamination level. Dus our work is to prepare this cullet and to extract a lot of this contamination going from metal, inorganic contamination, papers, label, organic, and the specification of the cullets are more and more tough. Because the use of the cullet is higher and higher, we are turning in the circular economy more and more. But meaning that to reinforce the use of cullet, the quality should be higher, and the specification of the customer are moving regularly through less and less contamination. Meaning that we need also to upgrade regularly our processes with new technology available on the market. Recycling is still a moving and increasing market.
You are one of the first customers using that system. So did you use it in a new factory or did you integrate it in an existing production line. So what were your motives as well, so as to use Clarity technology and
Yes,
Binder+Co?
we had the opportunity to buy the first Clarity Complete technology for our plant in Mineral d'Aude-Linsart. For us, it was a little bit a challenge because a new machine means sometimes some starting problem. But with the experience we had with Binder, we were quite convinced that the machine would be ready on time, and we were quite pleased to use this machine to replace an old one. Thus, we were in a project to upgrade an existing plant, removing an old sorter, which was sorting only CSP and color, to upgrade it to a full system sorting colors, contamination like CSP, metals, lead glass, and heat-resistant glass, which was a great opportunity to put everything in one set, in one existing process without huge modification of the conveying system.
Herzlichen Dank, Alexandre.
Well, thank you very much, Alexandre Albrecht, and best wishes to Belgium. Now it is your turn. You had already the possibility of asking questions through the chat, and the first question comes from Fritz Müller. In what sizes and machine sizes do you have the Clarity Complete technology? Please, yes, Georg.
Well, the construction sizes, we're talking about the sorting width, they haven't changed compared to the existing Clarity system. So the widths are still 700, 1000, and 1400 millimeters. So downward compatibility is certainly given.
The next question from Thomas Reiterer. Do you have differences in the maintenance work to be performed between Clarity and Clarity Complete technology? Yes, please.
Ultimately, nothing changes about maintenance. The whole system is integrated and fully integrated into the existing Clarity generation, so they've got the same wear parts.
Next question from Ulrich Gutmann from the company Die Woche. Do you have any repercussion according to the COVID pandemic?
Well, I must say that there isn't any industry that has been spared by the COVID pandemic, has not been affected. As Mr. Wiegand has already said, the container glass industry certainly did experience an upward tendency before the pandemic, and I do believe that this tendency has continued during the pandemic as well. In fact, multi-use is ever more important, and people are thinking more and more about sustainability, and glass as a packaging material really is an important contribution in order to sparingly use existing resources.
The next question also goes to the economic aspects. Pius Küng from Pius Küng and Partner Company. As far as the economics are concerned, is it less expensive to be operated? Can you give any example from a customer?
Well, it can be done. Mr. Albrecht already talked about it. He talked about his experience. An existing machine was replaced for the new Clarity machine. So the big advantage for the customer was that now the customer can eliminate various contaminants with one machine without having to change a basic design layout of his facility. Often, when you have to extend a facility, it is very difficult because the facility has grown step by step. But with Clarity Complete, we have been able to integrate these additional stages into one single machine, so the retrofit of a facility is easy, and this is the economic benefit for the customer.
Ich darf die Frage von Peter Johnson.
May I now ask you the question from Mr. Johnson, the price of Clarity Complete technology? So basically, how much does it cost? Sales.
Okay, so another sales question. The sales question is difficult to answer in general terms because Clarity Complete exists in various configurations. So we still work with our modular system as far as sorting width is concerned, valve resolution, and also the 2- or 3-way system. What we could see was that the existing sensor fusion technology compared with Clarity Complete as a new sensor fusion system does not make a big difference in terms of the price.
Then maybe the question from Renate Richter. Other suppliers have an X-ray technology so as to separate the different cutlets. What are the differences and what are the advantages of Clarity Complete technology?
I can answer this question. X-ray technology is used above all when it is about sorting out glass ceramics and heat-resistant materials and lead glass. Actually, it costs quite a lot, an X-ray system, and also the operating costs are expensive compared with Clarity Complete. And another big advantage of the Clarity Complete technology is that in addition to lead glass and glass ceramic, you can also sort by color, and you can also eliminate metals and glass ceramic.
We have the question of Jean Watson. Can complete technology detect dark colors? Who's answering? Daniel.
Well, basically, the answer is that Clarity has always been good at recognizing dark colored, but this wasn't the development objective. There aren't really big differences to existing Clarity, but we are ready for the future as well, and we have projects in order to further improve.
A question from Johann Sprüngli. What are the configuration possibilities with Clarity Complete technology? What are the contaminants that you can actually sort out? Thomas.
The configuration options, as far as the machine itself is concerned, are the same ones. As we already know, we have different valve resolutions for fines and also for coarse material. There are different construction sizes, different throughput rates. So, the configuration and the modular system is the same as the one that we already know. And the contaminants, well, a single machine is able to separate lead glass, CSP, metals, and also it is capable of color recognition or separation, and glass ceramic can also be combined with plastic and CSP and metal, and all of that in one single machine.
Andreas Baumann has a question. Do you have a different efficiency rate with the new technology in comparison with the Clarity and well-proven Clarity system? Is it improved or do you have restrictions?
I can answer this question. The efficiency is unaffected. This is very clear. It is a new development, and we believe that we will see better efficiency ultimately with this machine. But to return to the question, the efficiency will not be worse. It will tend to become better.
What does it mean, efficiency, grams per ton?
Well, this is a question that you can discuss for many days. Efficiency is the product quality on the one side, grams per ton, the CSP value, for example, but there is also the efficiency concerning the separation in the sense that you don't want to lose valuable material. This is also an important parameter. So it is always very important to look at the two parameters and balance them, quality and also yield and what is rejected.
Taylor Smith asks, can you actually retrofit the new machines? So can the new technology be integrated in an existing production line?
In principle, the answer is yes, it is possible. But of course, then you have to replace the sensors and the illumination system. You have to look at each case specifically, whether it makes sense to go into the existing machine or replace the complete machine, because it is simply the replacement one-to-one.
So basically, you call Thomas Meyer, you make the calculation, and then you know if it is worth it or not. Yes. Okay.
Correct.
Next question, David Schwarzel. Can Clarity Complete technology be used for analyzing and surveillance of finished products?
The answer is yes, it can. We are already using such systems, and perhaps we didn't talk about it, but an important part of a glass sorting system is always the quality control at the end of the process, and Clarity Complete is always important because one central machine is capable of recognizing various different contaminants, and it can plot the trend as well. Now, this means that there's a continuous quality and product control.
Just out of interest, what kind of product can you check?
Well, a finished product can be treated flint glass from a material recovery facility. Flint glass, well, if you want to put that into the furnace, then you have to make sure that the colorlessness is 99%, and CSP and the metals and the other materials must be separated.
And question from Emanuele Balestrocci. What is the maximum capacity in tons per hour in feet, and what granulometry 7 to 4 millimeters, for instance? So the maximum capacity with a grain size of 7 to 14 millimeters. Thomas.
Well, in general, it is always difficult to answer such a question because it really depends on the quality you expect at the end from the product, what color quality you expect. Overall, you can say that the throughput is the same as the available machines. So this is around 12 tons per hour and sorting meter.
We are coming to the last question in line. Tradian Ninaric. Are there already references and experiences with this new technology? So what kind of references and experiences do you have with this technology?
Yes, we already have such experiences. At the moment, we have 15 Clarity Complete systems in the field. We have supplied them to the customers, and most of them are an integrated part of an existing facility, just as in the example of Mr. Albrecht. The feedback from the customers is consistently positive, better sorting efficiency, and basically the things that we wanted to do with these machines, with the development, has been fulfilled, and the feedback is positive. We're very happy.
Well then, I say a very warm thank you to all of you, those who attended our expert talk, and thank you for all the questions to our experts. With us, Thomas Meyer from sales, from product management for sensor-based sorting, Georg Weingel. Then we have Daniel Kreimer, technical product manager for sensor-based sorting, and Thomas Wesian as a project manager for sensor-based sorting. You now have or should have all the contacts on the screen. If you wish to have any further information, use them. And of course, the stream then can be watched at a later moment in time as well. And not only saying thank you to our live expert, but also thank you to Oliver Wiegand from Germany and Alexandre Albrecht from Belgium. You didn't see them, but you heard them in English, our simultaneous interpreters, Thomas Musil and Bernhard Höfele. And in that same sense, I'd like to say thank you to Almut and Lisa Peter, who organized everything according to COVID-19 prescription. And you also know that we need technology and technicians. Martin Lechner with Media Eagle did that. Thank you to all of you. If you have any further questions, please use the contacts that you have seen with Binder+Co. All the best. Enjoy the day.